How's everybody? Everybody's good?
Yep.
We'll do what we do with my grandkids. Everyone good? Thumbs up. For those of you who I have not met over the last 4 years, I'm Susan Carroll, and I run the College and Career Center, and I am happy to be up here with Eileen Donlan, excuse me, my pronunciation versus, I come from a different part of Ireland, who is one of our wonderful social workers, Lindsay Ryle, who is a school counselor, Erica Shadler, who is a school counselor, and our brand new internship coordinator, Kelly Damasio, who will be joining us in January. Do you want to say hi and just say?
Morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be joining. I'll be starting January 8th, I believe is my official date. So I've worked in higher education for 10 years, and now I'm transitioning into New Canaan High School, which I'm really excited about. I think it's kind of a natural transition. In higher education, I've been in career services, so helping students with their career process in terms of if they're unsure of what they want to major in, figuring out different careers, helping students with job and internship placements, resume review, cover letter writing, getting their LinkedIn account set up, and also just figuring out ways to help them brand themselves. That's a big piece of what I work on with students, is trying to figure out ways to make themselves stand apart and have different opportunities. So when they're ready to apply for jobs, they are the number one candidate. So that's just a little bit about myself. I also live in New Canaan, and I have 3 kids in the school system. So it's just, I feel very vested in the schools, and I'm really excited to join. I look forward to working with your students and hopefully getting to know some of you as well. So thank you.
Yeah, we're thrilled, as you could tell from her embarrassment of riches for experience, we're thrilled to have Kelly. 10 years ago, back in September of 2009, then Principal Tony Pavia strolled down to the College and Career Center and opened my door and said, "Sue, I think we need an internship program." And I went, "Oh, yeah, sure." And being the type A good Catholic schoolgirl that I am, I said, "Yes, I can do that." And so I went about researching. There were very few high school programs at the time. Greenwich High School and Fairfield were the only 2 that really had them up and running. I did a fair amount of research, got a few people together from the Chamber of Commerce, a few other people, and we created this internship program, which I will say to you with all humility is the best one in Fairfield County. But it's strict. It's actually an internship program. It's not take a vacation the last 4 weeks of school. So I'm thrilled that it's in Kelly's good hands now. So your children were emailed from Heather Bianco, who shepherded this internship program for 6 years and did a fabulous job before she departed for greener pastures, i.e. a job in Stanford. Closer to home. She sent your children all an email on November 13th announcing that they could now enter the portal, which she sent them the link to, and register with the program. Very simple, sort of data, demographics, and they have to write a brief 4-sentence essay. It should take them no more than 15 minutes to do this. Also, she sent them sort of an outline of places where internships are currently offered. They will get a further list, entree into that list on January 5th. They also will be able to sign up for interviews then as well on Sign Up Genius. They are sent all of this information, and I believe pretty much 99% of the time, Heather CC'd you also. So if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me until January 8th, and then I will happily forward your questions to Kelly. So the idea of the program is that they apply, which is what they're in the process of doing now, like they're applying to a job. When we interviewed, asked kids 5 years ago how many of them had worked for pay, 86% of the class 5 years ago had not worked for pay. 86%. That's shocking to me. The number is lower now, but it's still not anywhere where it probably should be. So kids will register, And they will then interview as if they were on a job interview. Yes, we interview all 310 kids. They're interviewed by 2 people. And there is also a hiring process, meaning we match them. They get to choose 15 choices from our very good library of 225 jobs. We could use about another 25 jobs. So if any of you know anyone in the area who could host an intern, please send them my way. We will place them in the job. They also can self-design their own job. There's a form that's been sent to them for that. They will then undergo some training. In March, when the younger kids are taking the in-school SAT, we will do some training with them. And also, the day before the internship starts, which this year will be May 20th, we will do training with them as well. By the time they begin their internship, they will have gone through a sexual harassment workshop. They will have gone through a resume writing workshop, a workplace etiquette workshop. They will hear from a New Canaan High School grad on marketing themselves. And they will also end with opening up a LinkedIn account. So don't be surprised if they link in with you. The superintendent of schools gets 300 requests on the day that we do the LinkedIn presentation. They then begin their internship. They'll work 25 hours a week doing a myriad of jobs. And they will once a week have a responsibility to answer a journal prompt. It's the only academic thing that we will ask of them during that 4-week period. Actually, this year, it's not even 4 weeks. It's 3.5 weeks. So that's pretty much the internship in a nutshell. I will say that we noticed last year, how do I put this gracefully? Any of you who know me know that gracefully is not what I do. I'll just say it. A lot of the kids did not represent themselves as we would have hoped they would have. And so therefore, a couple of places decided that they would not host one of our interns. And I think the program is 13 years old now, so people think it's just something that New Canaan High School kids do at the end of the year. It's something that you have to apply for. It is not something you're just going to do. We ask you to sign a contract. We ask your student to sign a contract. The contract is very specific on what we would like. Choose another time to get your wisdom teeth out. Choose another time to go to a weekend away, an extra day over Memorial Day. This is a job. This is their internship. It will be resumeable. It's something that's going to help somebody in the community, and it will help them also discover maybe what they love to do or what they hate to do. So we hope that we can beg or count on your cooperation when we send them out into the community. Then the internship ends on June 7th, and we will then celebrate them on the 10th of June at a reception. The meetings, the training meetings, and the reception are all mandatory experiences for them, but they're great as well. So does anyone have any questions about the internship program? Yeah.
I was just wondering, what percentage of the seniors actually participate? My son
98%.
Oh, okay, so he really should do this. And right
No,
now,
you should be thoughtful, and he should be thoughtful. In other words, I think, again, because the program is 13 years old, when I did it the first year, I had 12 interns. I called it the dirty dozen. But by year 3, we had 178. So, again, the expectation is, I'll do an internship. You're still representing yourself, the high school, and we're putting you out in the community. So if you don't really want to do it, don't do it. Yeah.
Is it correct that there's a distance?
There is a distance limitation. We're usually 30 to 50 miles. We don't have them in New York City. We have a kid who came and said he self-designed an internship in Provincetown, Massachusetts. I'd like to spend the summer there too, but that's not going to happen. So, you know what, it's only 3.5 weeks. And we also, I'm very clear that this is not a college internship. Kids come in, you know your children. I want to work in finance. I want an internship in finance. Okay, but you also could just have fun for 3.5 weeks, pay back the education system that gave you a five-star education and go intern for your first grade teacher at South School. Like again, it's 3.5 weeks. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about designing your own?
Sure.
Because I don't think there's a lot out there as, for what my son is interested in. So I thought maybe my husband could help him. But do you go to the company?
You cannot be related to the person that you're interning. Yeah, if you know somebody who would host your child, and your child wants to approach them, that would be awesome. The committee, Kelly will be backed by a committee of community members and faculty, and we'll decide whether we think the internship's a go or not. We want to make sure it's safe and meets our other requirements, but they pretty much can do anything.
The company and
Yes.
get it going.
Correct.
And then get you involved.
Yeah, there's paperwork that your child will fill out. The host will sign off on it. We'll bring it to the committee, and the committee will give it a thumbs up or thumbs down.
And the paperwork's already on.
And the paperwork's all on the website, and the kids were emailed self-designed paperwork also. It's just 2 brief forms. Again, we're not building a pyramid here. Anything else? All right, well, Kelly's got to go to the police station and get fingerprinted now. She really does.
It was so lovely being here, and I really look forward to it. And just a reminder to kids too with these internships that this is a good opportunity for them to maybe potentially get references from it, potentially network, and so maybe they're not doing the exact thing that they want to be doing, but maybe the person that they're working with knows someone that can connect them. And I always tell students too that I work with, maybe you're in an internship and it's not, the internship that you wanted, but there's so many skills that you can learn from it, and there's just meeting with your supervisor, you can learn so much just from them. So hopefully they will have a wonderful experience, and I'm really excited to work with them.
Well, we're excited to have you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Off to the police station.
Yeah. There's not too many people who can say that they're leaving one meeting to go to a.
Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thanks again, Kelly.
Thank you.
Well, today we're here to take a look at some ways and some tools that we can use in talking to seniors as they receive decision letters from colleges. It's that time of year. I've long thought that the college application process was really about way more than just actually getting into college. The process itself is dotted along the way with life skills that, when mastered, can have make your life, I think, a little bit more successful. How your children view and execute this process will affect how they handle applying for a job, getting a car loan, buying a house, getting a mortgage, all of those things. And like all of those rites of passage, there's some bumps along the way for the college application process also. You have been helping your children shoulder disappointment for years, but somehow this seems to feel bigger. It feels bigger for your kids, and I think it feels bigger for you too. So we're going to take a look at some decisions, college decisions, and sort of how to find the right tone to listen and to respond to those decisions. So take it away, pupil services.
So before we jump into the more fun part, I think, of this program, we just wanted to give a quick overview of the different decisions that you can expect over the coming weeks and months. So in terms of acceptances, hopefully that's fairly straightforward. This is an exciting decision. Your child has been accepted. Just 2 important things to keep in mind when you get that acceptance letter. Take a look at the deposit date and make sure that you're keeping in mind, when you need to let the college know that you will be accepting that admission and depositing with them. And if you're accepted to your early decision school, so if your child applied ED and was accepted, they need to be sure that they're withdrawing any outstanding applications from any other early action or potentially regular decision schools that they've applied to. So that's just something to keep in mind there. Denials, unfortunately, we know what that means, right? We're moving on. We're looking at brighter opportunities elsewhere. And last that I'll talk about is deferrals, which I think, unfortunately, a lot of you will experience this year. It's a pretty common decision type, especially for early action and early decision applicants. And really, that's the college's way of saying that they're just not quite ready yet to make that decision. And so they're moving that application to the regular decision pool. And they really want to just wait and re-review that application again at a later date. The important thing to remember there is when you get that deferral letter or email, there are almost always very specific instructions from the college in terms of what they want your student to do, if there's any additional information that they're looking for. And we really stress the importance of following those directions and not doing too much and also not doing too little, right? So we want to make sure if the college only asks for an update on grades and maybe one additional resume update, that you're not sending 12 additional letters of recommendation. That's really going to indicate to a college that the student can't really follow directions, which
I just printed this out. This is from University of Georgia. I just got it yesterday, just to underscore what Erica is saying. It specifically says, students who receive a deferral decision will be able to provide application updates through their application status page, and you may submit grades, reports, updated transcripts for those students. And they give a link to where that information is. So before you go off just sending letters to admissions people, make sure your student goes to the website to check how they're handling deferrals. Again, this is a rite of passage. How do you follow directions?
and I'll turn it over to you, Lindsay.
All right, so we covered acceptance, denial, deferral. Another option could be a wait list. So if your child receives a place on a wait list, that means that that college or university is interested in the applicant, but perhaps doesn't have space in their incoming freshman class at this time. So for the wait list, similar to deferral, it's kind of a maybe we'll see, which that's, again, important to follow directions, see what the school is asking for. Students may need to accept a spot on the wait list or withdraw their application if they're no longer interested. Again, there will be directions from each institution about if they want to see any additional information. And lastly could be a branch option. So if your child applies to a college that does have multiple branches, most common to apply to the main campus, they might be branched to an alternative campus. Those alternative campuses could be the next town over, they could be across the country, they could be overseas completely. So that will be a family decision, a decision for your child on where he or she sees themselves attending. But again, more communication with the college will be, the instructions and next steps will be clear from the college there. So those were the 5 options of what your children may be hearing back in the next few months. And now I'm going to turn it over to Eileen Donnellan, who will cover supporting your children through all of those options.
Good morning. Like Mrs. Carroll said, my name is Eileen Donnellan. I'm one of the 2 school social workers here. One of the luxuries of living in New Canaan and having your students attend this school is that we have a superintendent who values mental health and supporting parents, and from the top down, we really have a lot of resources in terms of supporting your children through their 4 years in high school. One of the things I want to make sure that I let you know is it's all going to be okay. You will get through this. It may be a bumpy road. You're going to learn a ton about yourself, your student, your family, but we all tend to get through it. And the greatest thing that I want you to recognize is there's no handbook on how to do this right. If there is a handbook, I have a freshman in high school. Please let me know where you can find it because I've searched the internet. The other thing is the importance, when I was talking about today, one of the things that came to mind was the importance of language and how we describe certain things. And I think that the two words that came to mind in terms of college search and college admissions was rejection and acceptance. And I think the importance of the words that you use as you're getting these decisions in is really important, as well as what you do with when these things come in. Do you empower your student to really get this information and to then make the decisions based on, kind of have their own feelings in the moment? Or is it something that that sometimes parents, and they'll do some role plays to kind of go through this, but this is an emotional process not only for your children, but it's also a huge emotional process for you. So let yourself feel those feelings, but it's really important too to maybe think about when your child gets the acceptance letters, what is your part in that? What do you think your reactions will be? And then if there are non-admissions, what do you think? How do you think you'll react? What could you say? And part of today is like being mindful of kind of planning forward, so that experience can be not only beneficial to your child, but also to you and your family, because it is a huge thing. Let's see. So I think that you guys will go through your role plays, and one of the things, they're going to actually get in their costumes. But one of the things we talked about was doing this because sometimes when you're instructed to do this, it's like, okay, how does it look like in the moment? What does it look like? So we have our teenager and parent. And again, these role plays are not to say this is the wrong way to do it and this is the right way to do it, but just to kind of spark some conversation amongst all of us as to what are some things that may be a better tack to take, or how do you control that emotion in the moment when this happens. So kind of thinking forward.
They gave me a prop. I love a good prop. Are you ready, ladies?
Ready?
Ready for me?
Hey, sweetie, what are you looking at?
UVA emailed my admissions decisions available on the portal.
Ooh, this is it, huh? Who knows? Maybe you'll end up at the same school as your brother after all.
I guess.
Well, let me see that. Okay, well, this is disappointing, but we knew UVA was a big reach.
I know, that's what I've been saying from the beginning. I didn't even want to apply.
Okay, I know this must hurt. You and Tommy have been talking about going to UVA together since you could walk.
No, Mom, you've been talking about that. This sucks. Because of you, I actually want to go, and now I can't. Why did you even make me apply?
Oh no, this is not my fault. I've been on you about your grades for 4 years, and you never want my help. Tommy made the high honor roll every year and was the Stuco president. You spend your afternoons gaming. What did you really expect? There are plenty of other colleges. Why don't you pick one that you actually got into? I didn't force you to apply, and you'll be fine wherever you end up. At this point, Jeremy runs upstairs, slams the door to his room, and you hear the sounds of Fortnite coming from his room until the early hours of the morning.
Cut. Oh, wait. Gosh, I'll be better next time, I promise.
End scene.
End scene.
So in this situation, what are some things, and again, there's no right or wrong answers, what are some things that struck you about this conversation, or things that went well or things that didn't go well? Yes.
The mother had too much to say.
Okay.
Comparing the kids.
Yes, Comparisonville. I talk a lot about that because it's natural and normal, especially at this age, to compare, the type of school. And the really important thing is to also focus on fit. So it's not really where you can go, but what exactly, when you're making those decisions, what's the best fit for your student? Anything else? Yeah, and her disappointment was in the forefront, not the student's reaction to it. So that's something too that I would caution, because as a mom, I know sometimes I'm quick to say how I feel, but I've really learned to kind of step back and allow my daughter to feel what she feels and just be curious about it, like, sometimes just saying, or ugh, and or saying, what do you think about that? Or just not saying anything sometimes gives you the best information.
Yep. You ready for?
All right, here we go.
Blaming. Did somebody say blaming? Yes. That was the other thing that came out.
Mrs. Jones told me the UVA decisions are out today. Have you seen yours?
Not yet. I'm gonna look now. I'm freaking out.
Stop. What you think about, you bring about, and you are going to get in.
I didn't get in.
Oh, no, honey. I'm so sorry that this happened. It's going to be okay, though. UVA just doesn't know how amazing you are.
I worked so hard for this.
Oh, I know. I could kill those admissions reps. All those sleepless nights spent studying for your AP tests and all of your activities, lacrosse, student advocates, volunteering at the nature center. I don't understand what more they want. If you didn't get in, I bet no one from your class will. There is no one more qualified than you.
Sarah just texted me and she got in.
That's ridiculous. Sarah isn't half the student that you are. I bet her parents know someone. I'll do some digging. There is no way she was accepted and you weren't.
I can't do this. I'm going to Jess's house.
Remember, you're a star. We'll get through this together.
Good job. Any thoughts? Too much.
Me? Again.
And can you expand on that? Too much of what?
Is there too much of trying to make it somebody, not somebody else's fault, that's the wrong phrase, but just too much emphasis on all the work that the child had done, and that it wasn't their fault, not that it was their fault, that they didn't get in, but just, like, rather than making it, it started out great, rather than making it more about, it's okay, this is a really hard process, we're gonna find the right fit, and putting that spin on it. It was more, you did all this stuff, and mom's gonna try to fix it for you.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And the word of we did this, or we did this, or we're gonna do this. And really talking about all those things, the wonderful things that the student did, it kind of invalidates that even with that there's a failure. And again, those it's important to think about success and failure, and not equate those with acceptance or deferral or not acceptance.
Also, though, how about that Mrs. Jones told her that the decision was in the portal? Like, the conversations among parents. Because I think...
Give us a break.
You see this right here? I was there already. I was there. This is the face of experience. But I think you can't not talk about the community aspect of this. You know, you all have been raising your children together probably for, for a really long time. If you're Buchanan lifers, you're 12 years your kids have been together. So I think the community aspect of it, and also gives way into what you do when other kids come to your home during this period. You have a team dinner for basketball, and all of a sudden it comes up in conversation, and what is your role in talking about somebody who did get into UVA?
Putting down the other kid.
Yeah,
Poor Sarah. Not very nice.
And I think too, just kind of to go back to like the community aspect, I think it's so normal and can be really helpful to talk with like your friends in the community about, oh my gosh, like decisions came out today, and then you kind of are bracing yourself and know what to expect. And also just know that the kids are doing a lot of that here, and so sometimes it can feel really overwhelming, right, to go home. Maybe they're not ready to look at their decision. Maybe they already did at school and they know that it's like not great. And so I think kind of letting them sort of take the lead on like when they even check that, or when they even bring it up and talk about it can be really impactful for them, although it may sometimes feel like you're waiting forever. We understand that. We don't see the decisions right away, so we're just waiting for our students to come in and tell us, and it's hard, but it can sometimes be like something that they're doing purposely to just sort of calm themselves in the moment and then wait to share, so. All right. I heard UVA released their decisions today. Have you looked?
Not yet. I'm gonna do it right now, but I'm very nervous.
I understand. You've been waiting for this. No matter what it says, remember I'm here for you.
I didn't get it.
Oh, sweetie, I can see how much this meant to you. I'm here to listen if you want to talk about it.
I worked so hard.
You did, and I'm so proud of you for that. Rejection stings. It doesn't define your worth or your efforts. Let's figure out what you need right now. Do you want some time alone, or would you like to talk more about how you're feeling?
I think I just need a little time. I'm gonna go to Jess's. She's expecting me.
Of course, take all the time you need. And when you're ready, I'm here to support you in figuring out those next steps. You have gotten some fantastic acceptances already. And when you're ready, let's plan to do some more research into the schools that see your value as a student.
Thoughts?
I'm an amazing mother, I know.
There you go. So this is the one
You're gonna
that
send
said
us
that
that Insert school.
Yeah.
So what do you like about this scenario?
Just feels very supportive.
And what message do you think the student is getting from this type of a conversation? Like, what do you think the messages are?
That their feelings are what matter.
And it's okay, no matter what, it's all gonna be okay. It's not this, it's this. You know, it's one part of the journey.
The school's decision doesn't value, put worth on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's not a destination, it doesn't determine your worth or what your life's gonna be like. You know, it's a part of that process.
It reminds me, so Jeff Salingo came and spoke, or I guess zoomed and spoke a few years ago, and he posted something yesterday in anticipation of like, you know, decisions coming out, and the advice was that a parent's excitement or disappointment should never be greater than the student's.
That's a great
You know, so
analogy.
like just kind of whatever you feel, you gotta control it to some degree.
And it should be student driven. Like, this is really an opportunity to empower your teens to think about and consider what is the best fit, what's right for them, and also what to do with the results that come out. You know, how are they gonna handle it? Are they gonna be overwhelmed and crawl into bed, or are they gonna, you know, say, okay, that's one piece of information, I'll wait for the next one. And really be able to, like Sue said, is handle the disappointment that comes their way, because disappointment is part of life. And that's what we try to, you know, these lessons are really to think about and to help them manage those things.
I think also, girls and boys handle these things very differently. And the girl might be inclined, I hate to make gross generalizations, but there's always truth in gross generalizations. They might be more verbal about what has just happened, whereas a boy might process it a little more internally. So if you have sons, just be aware of that. You already know that about your sons. This is not, I'm sure there were a few games lost or whatever. But they do process things differently, just to be mindful of that.
Dad, I got accepted to Central.
That school didn't even make the U.S. World Report ranking. What about Villanova? Your mother and I are both alum.
Yeah, but I want to major in early childhood education, and they have one of the best programs. You heard Mrs. Shadler. Villanova's a huge reach. And I know you went there, but there's not a chance of getting in.
I don't know about that. Wouldn't it be better to aim a little higher? You've never had anything below an 80. I think you can do a little bit better.
Can you stop?
I'm just concerned about your future prospects. You need to consider a college that will open more doors for you.
Dad, stop. You're really annoying me. I'm going to Central. My grades aren't that good. I've only taken 2 AP classes. There's no way I'm even getting into Villanova. I just don't want to talk about this anymore.
I'm just pushing you because I love you. Maybe it's not Villanova, but I do want you to think about this. You can keep Central on the list, but please submit applications to 3 schools that are at least ranked, especially if you want me paying the tuition.
Thoughts? So much pressure.
Thanks.
Yeah. A lot of pressure. And like you said, the parents' emotions and feelings and thoughts are so in the forefront of the situation rather than the students.
Well, with a lot of self-worth tied to the place.
Yes.
So in the self-same Jeff Salingo, who we love around here, has a piece, he's part of an op-ed piece in yesterday's New York Times, which I urge you all to read. And he says, if you were to major in computer science at Georgetown University, you would graduate and your first job would probably pay you about $126,000 a year. Pretty heady for a 21-year-old. But if you went to Binghamton University at 1/3 the cost, you would start out at $121,000 a year. Not much of a difference, although according to this dad, Georgetown would have had the cachet, Binghamton does not. And what do we think about name brands? This is New Canaan. So something to be mindful of. Years ago, my daughter went to look at Gettysburg College and she loved it. And a parent said to her at a volleyball game, "Oh, Gettysburg, you could do so much better." She didn't even apply. Words matter. So what you say to your own kids and other people's kids, which is none of your business anyhow, frankly, they matter.
Any other thoughts on that scenario? You ready? No?
I got my Clemson decision. I was deferred.
Ooh, this is unexpected. What are we gonna do about that?
Do you think there's anything I can do to improve my chances?
We could try reaching out to the admissions office. Maybe we can send them a letter explaining why you're so passionate about Clemson.
I was thinking that. Maybe I could send an email to the admissions person.
That's a good idea. Let's draft a compelling email together and emphasize how much you want to be a part of that college.
But do you think it'll help? I don't want to annoy them.
I think it's worth a shot. Let's show them how dedicated you are.
All right. I'll start drafting the email and maybe ask my teachers for some more recommendation letters.
I will do everything I can to support you in this. I'll ask Mr. Jones to talk to his golf instructor. I remember him mentioning that he's a Clemson alum, and I think he gives a hefty donation every year. I bet if he recommended you, they'd have to take you. Ooh, and I bet we can also have Pastor George write an email. I think his great uncle went to Clemson.
I haven't really been going to youth group this year, so I don't know about that one. Do you think he'd still write for me?
Don't worry about it. I'll get him on board. I'll text the guys from the office too. I'm sure someone knows someone.
Thoughts? Reactions?
There was a lot of we and a lot of not reading what they're supposed to be doing. Go on their website and see what they're supposed to do.
So a lot of, and I just actually underlined all the I's and all. It was more of what the parent was thinking is the next step and making decisions, and really it wasn't an informed decision because it was the opposite of what the recommendations are on the website. Absolutely. And again, all in good intentions. It happens when we get caught up in the moment and you think that you're going in the right direction, and then it's like, oh, whoa, wait, maybe we should hit the pause button and just allow the student or the child to pivot to what the next step is.
Also, I think this was from a dad's point of view. So maybe also just being mindful that, like girls and boys processing the decision differently, parents process things differently. And maybe trying to think about that as before you start to talk to your kids about this stuff, so that you're on the same page, a different but united front. You know, what's the family standard on handling disappointment?
And handling finances. I mean, that's a big, hot topic, you know, and how that is no matter what. And that's part of making sure it's a right fit. I mean, the tuition is a right fit for the parents. But also students who will come out with debt and student loans. And so it's really an opportunity to take a look at, you know, how do you make decisions and to model for your teen, you know, what is a good fit for our family and a good fit for you.
This is more of a technical question rather than a role play, but is there a better situation? Is waitlisted better than deferred, or is deferred better than being waitlisted? And if you are waitlisted, what do you do? I didn't know that you actually have to, you know, accept a spot on a wait list.
Yeah, so that's generally the first step, is to accept your spot on the wait list. Colleges will, as we approach May 1st is deposit day, so that is the deadline that the majority of schools to deposit if you plan to enroll. So after May 1st, once those colleges are reviewing their incoming freshman class, if they do have a large number of seats that they can continue to admit students to, that's where they begin pulling from the wait list. So schools can pull from their wait lists from April, May, June, July, August, or not at all. So I would say the wait list is not something that you want to put a lot of stock in. It's very unsure. It depends from year to year, from college to college. So the wait list really is just what it sounds like. You're on a wait list.
So if
Whereas
you get to a school and you got waitlisted, you can just move on to somebody else then.
yes,
Waitlists usually don't happen, sometimes they do, but usually don't happen this time of year. Usually it's a deferral. Waitlist would happen usually, not, again, like all college admission stuff, there's no one blanket answer, but usually would happen after the final regular decision applications have been read. So that is why if your child applied early decision and was accepted and had maybe other applications out there, early action applications, why it's crucial that they withdraw, as the counselors mentioned, because that gives some room for other people to be accepted during the regular pool. So what a deferral is saying is, we think you're good enough to stick around on our list, but we're going to look at you again after January 1st when our regular decision applications come in.
Does that happen automatically, or do we have to contact the school and say, we'd like to be considered for regular decision also?
No, you're either, one of two things is, they're either going to cut you loose, which frankly, in the end of I think is the best decision ever, because it gives you freedom to explore other options, or they will string you along, my words, not theirs, by, again, graceful is not my middle name, by deferring you. And because they don't want to lose you yet. So sometimes you're Boston College, and you have so many alums in the Northeast, and we don't want to insult them, and your kids did have pretty good grades, so we're going to defer them. And we're going to defer a whole lot of them. And then we're going to throw them in the mix with regular decision. And we're going to look at everybody again. Maybe we go back to the deferral and go, yeah, you rise to the top. Maybe not. Maybe you then will get waitlisted.
And deferrals, you know, we're very negative about them, obviously. We all feel some type of way about waitlists and deferrals. They can work out. We chose like Clemson for a reason. Last year, Clemson deferred, I would say like 98% of our applicants. And then the majority of them were eventually accepted. It was really just a numbers thing. They were overwhelmed with the amount of applications that they received. But in terms of a wait list and really deferrals, the way I always explain it to my students is, if in this process you have a plan A, B, C, D, and E,
waitlist school is your plan B. Like, maybe it'll happen, but I want you having 4 other really good, solid options ahead of that. And then if you get off in July and you want to attend, great, it's a happy surprise. But also, hopefully by then, you are no longer thinking of your waitlist school because you've excitedly deposited elsewhere.
Yeah, you put the bumper sticker already on your car, and you'll lose your deposit if you end up going to the waitlist school too. So just a few financial considerations to think about. One more?
One more.
All right.
Mom, I got my Clemson decision back, and I was deferred.
Oh, sweetheart, let's take a look at it. Okay, this isn't what we expected. Are you okay?
Not really. I really wanted this.
They might have mentioned what they expect from deferred students. Did they provide any guidance?
Yeah, they mentioned submitting an update on my achievements and interests.
Okay, that's a good sign. While you consider that, it might also help to look at some of your other college acceptances.
I don't know if I want to consider other options yet. This was really my dream.
I know. Exploring other opportunities doesn't mean giving up on this one. It's just about keeping your options open.
I guess. I just feel stuck.
And it's okay to feel that way. Maybe sending up the update that the college requested could help you feel a little more proactive. Do you need any help organizing your updated resume or composing that email?
Sure, I guess I could use some help just making sure I don't forget anything. Thanks.
I need a recording of that.
To be clear, I don't have children, so this is very easy. I just have all yours.
It's more than enough.
I was struck by hand do the letter, which used to be back in our day. Wasn't it?
Well, it was an email. It was on the portal.
Any other thoughts? What did you like about this one?
It was a really measured response, well balanced.
And the message that you think the teen got from the parent was what?
That she understood the disappointment, but the disappointment wasn't everything.
Yeah, that it's just part of the process. And normalizing that is, and also encouraging to look at alternatives. It's not one-stop shopping. It's kind of look at your options, and that's a good lesson in problem solving, or looking at a situation and looking at the options and what are your best decisions, and that not every solution is going to work out, but there are multiple solutions, and alternatives are important. And it's okay. It's okay to kind of go through that, and your counselors are here to help you to do that too.
I like that, unlike the other one where the dad was going to contact the golf buddy and the guys at the office, and
George?
This parent gave their child, believed enough in their child's capabilities to give them agency. If you need help organizing your thoughts, I'm happy to help, as opposed to taking over the process. I think when you talk to kids who transfer colleges, maybe after, they do it for a variety of reasons, but sometimes it's because they just didn't own the process to begin with. They ended up someplace that they really weren't as invested in because everyone helped along the way. And so again, with all good intentions, but I like how this parent handled this better. Anybody else have any other questions or comments? Well, I'm gonna close with this.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Sure.
With regards to decision days, and I know everybody has a million different decision
Yeah.
days, but do they, for the most part, tell the students in advance you're gonna get your
Yep.
answer on December
Correct.
25th if you're a portfolio student?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they will send a note saying.
Yep, it's in their
Just
portal.
waiting by the computer.
Nope, and they give the, for example, I just was looking at Swarthmore's, on December 5th, it said decisions will be available after December 7th. So the information is clearly there. Of course, because life is the way it is. You don't have access to that information, but your children do. So the reason why this conversation is important is there's stuff swirling around in their heads right at the moment that you know nothing about. You know, December 15th, you know, blah, blah, blah is going to receive. December 5th, December 7th, Tulane, you know, so they have information that you're not privy to. And so, you know, if there's doors slamming and moodiness and Fortnite being played and Haagen-Dazs being consumed, that might be, you know, that might be part of the reason. So, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Yeah.
I thought this was great because it's putting me in the mindset of, you know, you're just sitting there quietly talking and having this conversation. And sometimes some of this stuff comes up in the chaos of the kitchen, and we tend to be doing 5 things at once, and maybe it might appear insensitive and not really focused on what they're feeling.
And they may have just done something that was like very irritating. And then in the next breath, it's like, oh, and by the way, my dreams have been crushed. And so it's, you know, it's a really hard balance. I think like we absolutely feel that too, not at the same level, of course. But we love working with our seniors and your kids, hopefully like nearly as much as you love having them. And it is so disappointing. Like when they come in and tell us, you know, kind of negative decisions that they've received, it's really hard to not also like outwardly feel that emotion of hugely disappointed with and for them. Now, luckily, professionally, we're not allowed to, you know, have that response outwardly, but I think it's a lot harder for you all because you're just as invested in this process as you should be. But they're tricky little characters, your kids.
Well, and also, you know what, the reality is they have to go and live their life. They'll only be seniors once. They got so much. You heard about the internship program. Who gets to do that kind of stuff? They got a state football game this Saturday. You know, they have seasons of sports and theater ahead of them. There's the prom. There's the stress of APs. You know, you could get 2 denials from colleges in one day, flunk a calculus test, and lose a basketball game. You know, and your life is looking pretty miserable in that moment. But again, that's why, you know, disappointment, how you handle disappointment becomes important, because it will be how you handle other things. And next year, they're not going to be, they'll be a phone call away from you or a text away from you. So, happily or not. So, yeah.
And I just want to say also on the flip side, me being the optimist that I am, remember to celebrate the little successes along the way. It's so important to allow your kids and remind them senior year is supposed to be fun. It's a year of exploration and figuring out what you like and what you don't like, what you want in an environment and a community, because college is a community. What do you like about when you go on a campus? And what are you most excited for? So I think sometimes and that's where the language part comes in, is if you think about it as something negative, the experience is going to be negative. If you think about it as something exciting and fun, and, you know, dialectically, and it could be stressful and grueling and nerve-wracking and focus, you know. So the synthesis of those two opposites is what the challenge is. And so I know you'll all go out and do it perfectly. So, and give yourselves a break in the meantime. Like you said, give us a break. It's hard. It's hard.
Also, on December 21st, for the 22nd year, we will invite college freshmen, New Canaan High School alums, back. A small cross-section of them will meet with the Board of Ed to discuss how well New Canaan High School has prepared them for their future. But then the larger group will meet with your seniors. And the best thing that comes out of that each year for 22 years, which shows you how the process works, is you have students who say, I'm at my 5th choice school, I couldn't imagine being anyplace else. I love my professors. I love my roommate. So as much as when you're in the thick of it, it seems so intense, the other side of it is that by May, this time next year, they're going to be coming home, they'll finish their first set of exams, coming home for Christmas break. You just don't know where that's going to be yet. And so when you can Google a response in 2 seconds, we like having our answers now. This is a game of patience, but so is most of life. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. From that self-same op-ed piece that I mentioned from the Times, it ended with this paragraph that I'd like to share with you. None of us can fully control our children's future, which can feel terrifying, even for people who seemingly have everything. We have to prepare them for a world that is changing so fast technologically that I can't even imagine what kind of jobs will exist for my children, much less know how to prepare them. But we need to have at least a measure of faith that we've given kids the tools they need to make their own way, no matter what life throws at them. And as early decision news starts to trickle into our students' inboxes this week, the ability to be flexible, to rebound from disappointment, and to make the most available options, that is a skill that will serve them forever. So I think that that's 100% true. And as John Lennon said, everything will be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.